Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr., part of Hank Jr. Productions, where I'm documenting life's moments through photography, videography, and now podcasting. And I always say I have a special guest, but I still will say it again. I have a very special guest that's coming on. I've been following him for quite a while. Liam Coleman. Liam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, I am doing awesome. Like I said, I've been waiting for a long time to get you here on my podcast. But tell me, where are you calling in from today?
I'm here in the beautiful Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. And that's kind of like your home now, right?
Yeah, I moved here about what is it now? It's April. I moved here about 4 months ago, and yeah, I love it. It's so much fun. Everybody's so nice. Just working on new music constantly and playing shows. It's a cool place to call home. That's for sure.
And you came from Massachusetts, correct?
Yes, I did. I love it. I love it there, but I don't see myself living there again anytime soon.
What do you love about it, and what don't you miss about Massachusetts?
Man, I love Massachusetts for all my friends and family and stuff, but I definitely don't miss how it's like there's a music scene there, but like here, it's very much just a bunch of other like-minded people when it comes to writing and performing. So I definitely miss all my friends and family, and I love that aspect of knowing like everybody and stuff. But I definitely like the music scene better here in the sense of where it's like everyone's just got the same goal right now, and it's just all working together to make each other's dreams come true.
Yeah, and I can see that because I had Annie Brost on my podcast earlier on when I first started, and she kind of talked a little bit about the country scene up there, and it is really kind of a lot smaller, although it is getting kind of bigger, but it's still
Yeah.
not the same, and it's only a certain kind of country that they like right now. They haven't let everything in.
Yeah, it's a smaller scene. Everyone in it is great. Like I love everybody in it. I have a lot of friends in it, but it's definitely, I mean, obviously a lot bigger here. Um but it's yeah, it's great up there, but it's definitely a whole nother game down here.
All right. And you seem to be fitting into Nashville pretty well. I've seen you out there, in some of your social media posts and, having a good time out there performing. I am going to say that, I know that you were roommates with Payton Howie, one of the ones that's been on my podcast as well. And I did reach out to her briefly to find out, was there any dirt that she would have on you that I could use to get you at this podcast? But she did not reveal anything that was, scandalous or anything like that. But that you're a good guy. But hey, I'm gonna flip that coin. And is there anything that you might want to tell me about Peyton that I should know about?
Man, she's absolutely insane. No, I'm kidding. She's great. She's awesome. I love her. No, I have nothing bad to say about Peyton or any. I have no dirt. She's one of my best friends. I love
Of
her.
course not, and I didn't expect you to dish any dirt. But is she as outgoing as she presents herself in the public?
Yes, 100%. She is a lot of fun. She's very outgoing. She's not shy to say what's on her mind or she's not a shy person whatsoever.
So what we see is what she is, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And I saw that you were having a little bit of fun yourself out in spring break. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I write and stuff during the week here, and then at night I play downtown on Broadway, in the Tootsie circuit. So they have a Tootsie's in Panama City, Florida, and so every week they send a new Nashville band every week, and so we got sent down that week to play 10 to close every night in Panama City, and yeah, it was a good time. We had a lot of fun. Just played every single night, hung out on the beach during the day, played shows at night. It was a pretty good week. Nice little escape from Nashville, clear the mind, and come back and then wrote a bunch more songs.
Yeah, and definitely during spring break it could get a little wild, so I won't dig too far into that as well. But I'm glad you had a good time out there. So your latest song out is Vintage. It's doing pretty well. The first time I heard it, I really liked that song.
Thanks.
It was kind of very special to me in my own right. But tell us about Vintage and the backstory about that.
Man, so me and Payton actually wrote that song last February. Um, we were just cleaning out in my house, and my dad had this old sweatshirt or whatever, like just an old like it was an old Bruins sweatshirt, and he was like, "You want this?" And he's like, "It's kind of vintage." I'm like, "Yeah, it's pretty cool." And I took it, and I just like kind of made a mental note of that, wrote it in my notes, and um, I brought just the idea to Peyton, and she liked it, and we wrote it, and then recorded it a couple months later, and then re-recorded some parts later on and then put it out. And now we got a music video coming out for it in a couple weeks. We just finished filming that about 2 weeks ago, and so that's getting all edited, and music video will be out very soon. Very soon.
Okay, so everybody watching, be ready for that to come out. And as a photographer and videographer myself, I always love to plug other photographers and videographers. So tell us who's doing that video.
Glitch Video. They're a company here in Nashville. They film a bunch of music videos. So Glitch Video is the ones who shot that. Shout out Glitch.
Okay, so shout out to them. So would you mind playing vintage here on Hank's Corner today?
Of course. Here we go. All right. That championship sweatshirt from 1993. The logo is fitting out. There's stains on the sleeve. That old truck is parked out there tonight. It's all rusted out and it ain't no good to drive. Grandpa used to live and play them mountains, Dylan, Hank, and Cash, just my style. I still play that guitar my daddy gave to me. He bought it back in high school. It was mine when I turned 16. You may think I'm old-fashioned, but vintage is cool to me. Wade Boggs baseball card from back in '88. Drinking Coca-Cola, playing Pac-Man at the arcade. I got dusty comic books sitting on my shelf next to my old radio. Things you know I'll never sell. Grandpa used to live, play them out. Dylan, Hank, Cash, just my style. I still play that guitar my daddy gave to me. He bought it back in high school. It was mine when I turned 16. You may think I'm old-fashioned, but vintage is cool. Grandpa used to live, play them battles. Dylan, Hank, and Cash, just my style. I still play that guitar that my daddy gave to me. He bought it back in high school. It was mine when I turned 16. You may think I'm old-fashioned, but vintage is cool.
welcome back to Hank's Corner. Like I said, I'm Hank Jr. along with Liam Coleman, and that was his latest single, "Vintage." And I mentioned that it's kind of special to me, and the reason why is the older you get, you start looking back, and things do become like a vintage sort of thing, and you and Peyton both captured that very well in that song. So it may be right now one of my more favorites by you out there. So
I appreciate
thanks for putting that out. Can I ask how old you are?
I'm 18. I will be 19 on April 27th. So
Okay.
next
And
week.
so one of the things I like about you is your voice, and you got a nice deep voice, and uh, at one point, being that you were young, a lot of people said, how's that voice coming out of that kid?
Yeah.
But one of the things that, recently you've changed is you've changed your hairstyle and you grow the beard. And so now it almost like it fits your voice.
Yeah. It's Liam from like a year ago is a lot different than Liam now. Not really like personality wise, just look wise. That's it. Like my hair was a little shorter last year, but the beard's a couple months old. But yeah, it's always funny, especially playing downtown, like playing a 6 to 10 or a 10 to close shift and talking to people and they'll be like, "How old are you?" Or like people trying to buy me drinks and stuff. I'm like, "Oh, I can't even tell you." It's always a great reaction out of people, and it's so funny. But yeah, I
Yeah.
it's more. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like I said, before that, they would not believe, that, you would look a lot younger than what your voice sounds. But, it's definitely a great voice. But tell me a little bit about, like I said, you're still young, but you still had a journey from Massachusetts
Yeah,
over to Tennessee. So tell me, how did you catch the music bug? Were there any influences, and what ultimately brought you to Nashville?
man, I grew up listening to everything, literally everything from Green Day to Alan Jackson to Elvis to Bob Dylan. Like I grew up listening to everything, and it just kind of sprouted at a young age where I really had an obsession with rock. I loved rock. That was my Green Day, Foo Fighters, Nirvana. Like I just I have ADHD, and so my ADHD self would just love to like run around and like bang my head to some rock music. So I started playing drums when I was 6. My parents gave me the option. They were like, either guitar lessons or drum lessons. And me being the spaz I was listening to rock, I was like, I wanna do that. I wanna drum some rock. So I did
And
drum
that's very, I'm
for
sorry to interrupt, but that's very brave of your parents to give you a drum set,
no.
because, as a parent myself, you kind of like those quiet moments, and I would have chose the guitar for you, but great for them that they picked the drum set.
Yeah, I don't think they were too happy that I picked drums. I think they were thinking I was gonna pick guitar, but I picked drums and yeah, I don't think they regret it now, but I think at the time there had to have been a little bit of regret, especially when I was first starting, there had to have been something there. But yeah, so I did drum lessons for about 10 years, but I taught myself how to play guitar when I was 12. I started just like getting more into it and I was sick of holding a guitar like because I had guitars growing up, but I was sick of holding a guitar and not knowing what to do with it. So my dad showed me a couple chords, and then I just went on from there. Taught myself how to play, and I'd been really singing my whole life. It was just kind of like, I mean, obviously you're not good when you're young, like you're not super good when you're young, but I was just singing my whole life, and started doing vocal lessons a couple like maybe 2 years ago. Um, but it just kind of I've always had a fascination with music. I started writing songs at a young age, and then I kind of gave that up for a while just because I was like, man, I have no experiences. I'm like my 12-year-old, 13-year-old self. I have nothing to base my songs off. So I kind of gave it a little break, and I always thought for the longest time I couldn't write songs. So I really didn't start picking up songwriting again until the pandemic hit, and I started doing Zoom writes with people, and quickly realized I'm like, whoa, this is what I really like to do. And so, but I started playing out when I was 15. I started playing at like restaurants and bars and breweries all around Massachusetts, and I did that all throughout high school. And I always knew I didn't want to go to college. I've never been a school person. I've never been able to sit still in a classroom for long enough where I'm like, man, I could do this for another 4 years. Um, so my parents were cool with it. They were like, they've always been super supportive of everything, and they were like, yeah, if you move to Nashville, you just got to work hard. And so um, I moved out here. Just I graduated and I moved out here. Really, I spent the rest of the year in Massachusetts just making money doing shows up there, and then I was like, first week of January, it's time to pack up and go. And so I did it, and there's no looking back. I love it. It's so much fun here.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you make the jump, and I'm wishing you all the success as well. So when you were learning the the guitar and teaching yourself, were you teaching yourself some of those rock songs, or was it a mix of rock, country, and everything else?
It was definitely when I started learning how to play guitar. Like I said, I always had a fascination with country as well. And so that's what I'd kind of really say my style is now, where it's like a country rock thing. But when I started learning how to play guitar, it was country. I was learning all country. There's a couple rock songs, but it was all country for the most part, and just learning that and singing country music. Like I said, I always had a fascination with Garth Brooks and Alan Jackson and Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan. He's country. I'd say country folk type thing, but
Mhm. Yeah.
um, like I owe Johnny Cash, like I just loved everything. So I was just like, you know what? Let's take a little bit of everything, learn it, and put it into my own stuff.
Okay. And so now in Nashville, you're kind of doing your own thing. And you mentioned you got some new songs that you're working on. One of them being First Time. Tell us a little bit about that.
Man, so one of my buddies who just moved here, his name is Nathan Wilson. Me and this guy, we write together every single day. We wrote together right before this. We write all the time, and he just had this idea, and he'd been wanting to write it for a little bit, and he brought it to me like when he first moved. So like this was like back early March, late February, and he had like a little first verse that he worked on, and we both I loved it, and I was like, I'm finishing that with you. Like that's a great song, and so we every time we tried to tackle it, we didn't want to screw it up, so we always like pushed it off. And then we brought it to one of our other friends, Tori Hughes, and we wrote it, and now we're looking to we're pitching it to some people right now to record. And that's the cool thing about here is like I've really focused on honing in on songwriting and writing songs for other people to record, for myself to record. And I've just been enjoying this whole songwriting thing recently. So this is one that we're looking, but it's one of my favorites we've written recently. So figured I'd play it out for you guys.
All right. We appreciate that.
All right. I'm just gonna tune real quick so we can. Remember the first time we locked eyes on your porch out till the first time your daddy said, have you home before it's midnight. It was 11:59. Yeah, the first time we watched the sun fall down and the stars come out. Yeah, the first time we made love in the bed of my truck for the first time. Doesn't time fly by? But right now, this old Chevy ain't slowing down. Pedal to the metal, trying to burn you out. Well, these towers in the streets and these old memories spinning through my mind. Trying to outrun the first time. Remember the first time dropping you off and you said you had a good night. The whole way home couldn't get you off my mind. Waited my whole life first time to find a girl my mama really likes. Found something that feels so right. Wish I could say I love you just one more time. But right now, this old Chevy ain't slowing down. Pedal to the metal, trying to burn you out. But these tires in the streets and these old memories spinning through my mind. Trying to outrun the first time. Remember the last time dropping you off after watching you cry the whole ride, knowing damn well that all the fault was mine. I don't blame you for saying goodbye. But right now, this old Chevy ain't slowing down. Pedal to the metal, trying to burn you out. But these tires in the streets and these old memories spinning through my mind. Trying to outrun the first time. Oh,
And that was the first time I'm hearing the song First Time by Liam Coleman here on Hank's Corner, Hank Jr. And so you are having a ball there in Nashville, but tell me, what are some of the challenges that you've had to face since you've made the move?
money was a big one. No. Um, honestly, like this is gonna sound stupid and like, but it's like I haven't really like there hasn't been too much like challenges necessarily. Sure, some things like may get canceled or whatever, like shows or rights or whatever, but that happens all the time. But there hasn't been like I said, everybody I've met super nice. Like everyone's willing to help out everyone. Like it's there hasn't been like much of like a struggle. I'd say maybe just like playing downtown. Like when I moved, it was kind of slow season, so we weren't making like a ton of money at the start. But like it's just like maybe just finances, I guess. I don't know. There's not really any challenges though.
So is music your, your full-time job, or do you have something that supplements it?
Nah, I mean playing downtown, I make the money I need, so it's that right now music's my full time job. I might pick up something here and there, but yeah, right now it's just music. Like I said, writing songs during the day, playing downtown at night.
Okay. And is there any way that fans can support you as far as, do you have a Venmo set up? Do you have merchandise?
I have merchandise. I have merch on my website, liamcolemanmusic.com. Um, yeah, we just actually we just redid the website and got some new merch things up there. So um, yeah, you guys can go check that out. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And I just got off another podcast that, I was talking about that. uh One of the things that, obviously, when people go out and start the music career, there is a struggle with, with the finances. But I learned a lot of things as far as like, the streaming music. You guys don't make hardly anything off streaming music. And,
Oh,
just some of the things that I thought that you as an artist would get money from, you really don't. So, I'm making it kind of my mission to say, hey, you know what? Everybody watching the podcast, if you like Liam Coleman and you like his music, be sure to support him as far as the merchandise and, tipping him and that sort of thing.
you make 0.003 cents per stream on Spotify. You need 303,000 streams to make $1,000 on Spotify. You don't get paid anything from streaming, which that was something that I had to learn too, because I was like, oh sweet, put some music out, people like it, whatever. Nah, you gotta have a song take off to make money on streaming services. It's funny. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy. I didn't realize that. But as far as being in Nashville, I mean, obviously you're playing and doing all that. But when you have time, who are you going out to see there?
Man, usually sometimes I'll go downtown, see some of my friends who are playing. I've gone to a couple concerts since being here. I went and saw Garth Brooks the other night, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I
Uh,
saw a bunch of pictures from that. He
that was
he
a lot of
definitely
fun.
packed that stadium.
That was one hell of a show. But going with some friends this week to go see Wetzel and some Texas country music guys who are coming up to Nashville. We're going to watch them play. But yeah, I like to usually at night there's a lot of writers rounds going on. So usually I know somebody in a round and I'll go out there, or if not, then we'll just go to somebody's house, write songs, get some food, and um, have a good time. But usually just either writing songs at night or just hanging out watching. Sometimes we watch movies. We go to Top Golf a lot on Tuesdays because it's half off. So we go to Top Golf on Tuesdays. We go bowling a lot. We just like to have a good time. Whatever we're feeling that night.
Definitely.
That's what I like, is waking up and not knowing what we're doing for the day. Like I have like some things that I like. All right, I have rights or whatever. But at night, it's free for all. It's whatever we all agree on.
Yeah, I definitely miss those years sometime with not having those responsibilities and just having a good time. Is there anybody there in Nashville that's up and coming that maybe somebody really hasn't heard of outside of Nashville that we should be on the lookout for?
Man, I'm gonna say Peyton is one of them. Definitely, she's killing it right now. She's got a lot of cool stuff going on, and some cool things that I was very happy to be a part of. And then I'll give a huge shout out to Nathan Wilson, who I write with all the time. That guy's killer right now. Big shout out to him. Another one of my buddies, Kenny Whitmire. Kenny is he's got some music coming out here soon, and man, that boy can play guitar and he can sing. He's a hell of a writer as well. Um, yeah, just some of the boys and stuff who are just everyone here is talented. There's no shortage of talented people. Another one of my friends, Cody Garrett. He's got some killer music. A lot of these guys are just they're people who you might not see their names on the top of the charts, but if you look at writing credits, these guys are hell of writers, and they're definitely going to be some people who are going to be like the ones here in town soon, without a doubt.
So you have one song that you kind of been working on, "Better Off Without You." Tell us a little bit about that one.
That's another one written with Nathan. He's an idea man. He's got a lot of good ideas, and this is another one where he had it, and he was like, "I have this idea," and I was like, "Man, I like it." I'm like, "That's relatable. Everybody's got that breakup or whatever that you realize, maybe I didn't need you after all." And so we wrote this one. Also, huge shout out to Noah Volts. We wrote this one with Noah one night. We wrote this one. We wrote this song, and then we wrote First Time the next night. So it was a real good weekend of songwriting. But yeah, we wrote this one relatively quickly because we've all just had that person where it was like, yeah, this is gonna be an easy one to write. So this is called Better Off Without You. Heard you been talking my name down, but wasn't the one. Got caught messing around. I hope you're happy now. And no, I ain't coming back, no, not this time. It's happened before. I let it slide, and I'm not letting you drag my heart through the ground. Yeah, I'm packing my bags and I'm heading out of town. I'm moving on, man, I'm feeling brand new. I found somebody 100 times better than you. Wasn't too hard to do. I hope you call me up 'cause you miss me so much. Send you a pic picture of my new love, of me holding her like I used to hold you. And I hope you see I'm better off without you. Ain't it crazy how I'm doing alright without you here by my side, and you calling my phone in the middle of the night saying I miss you. Honey, that's a nice try. I'm moving on, man, I'm feeling brand new. I found somebody 100 times better than you. Wasn't too hard to do. I hope you call me up, cause you miss me so much. I'll send you a picture of my new love, of me holding her like I used to hold you. And I hope you see I'm better off without you. Better off without you. Oh, 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 oh. So just remember, the next time you say forever, I hope you mean it. I wish you could see it the way you had me feeling. But I moved on and I'm feeling brand new. I found somebody 100 times better than you. Wasn't too hard to do. I hope you call me up, cause you miss me so much. I send you a picture of my new love, of me holding her like I used to hold you. And I hope you see I'm better off without you. Better off without you. Oh, 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 oh. I'm better off without you.
And sometimes that's how relationships go. But if you can end up being better off after that, good for you. I love that. That's Better Off Without You by Liam Coleman here on Hank's Corner. I'm Hank Jr. And so I like that. I like First Time. And I can't wait for you guys to actually put that out.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited. I think Nathan might be doing something with that one. Not sure yet, but that one might be out this year. Don't quote me on
Okay.
that. That one
Well,
might
we'll
be
go.
out.
We'll keep our fingers crossed and see what happens. So the last part of the show, I always like to do a little bit fun, and you kind of already alluded to some of the fun things that you get to do out there with the guys. But I did see that you had a picture on your social media where you said that this picture cost $80, and that's because you're filling up your truck. So we all know gas prices are very high right now, and but do you ever get to go out and travel outside of Nashville? And if so, where do you go, and where would you like to go?
Man, last weekend I was in Georgia, which was really cool. I was in Tybee Island for a songwriter festival. Like I said, the week before that, I was in Panama City for some shows. I get to get out of Nashville a lot, and um, I'm going to Massachusetts and New York for some shows in May, and then some cool stuff later this year. But I get to get out every now and see the world. But right now, I'm really just I don't know. Right now, I'm really loving Nashville. I get FOMO when I leave Nashville. I'm like, man, what am I gonna
Oh,
miss? Because anytime I leave, something really cool happens, and I'm like, like could have been there for it. Could have been there, but right now I'm really I'm rooted in Nashville. But I get to do some traveling, and I love travel. Like I love doing music. I love traveling, and the fact that I get to do both those things is the coolest thing on the planet to me. But yeah, there's some cool stuff going on there this year where I get to go to some places I've never been to Georgia. There's some cool places where I get to go places I've never been this year. So um, might go up to Texas and do some stuff with Payton out there later this year. Just whatever comes about. But yeah, we got some cool travel things this year planned.
Yeah, and although I'm in Florida now, Texas is my home state, and if you definitely get out there, that would be great. It's definitely a great place. I'll always promote Texas. Like I said, I'm here in Florida, but I'm still a Texan at heart.
I love it. I went out into Texas in September to do some shows with Payton, and man, it was such a good time. I loved Texas. Like it's just, I was like, man, should I move here instead? I was like, man, it's so much fun out there, and it's really cool. So I'm definitely trying to get back to Texas this year.
Well, when you hit it big, you can have a house in each location. So
All right.
something to work forward to. So when you're out there, making these drives, what music are you listening to on these road trips?
Ooh. Honestly, a mix of everything, but really depends on the mood I'm in. So like when we were going down to Florida, we drove for Florida and we were listening to everything from country to rock to rap. I listen to everything. I'm a fan of I'm just a fan of music. So if it's a good song, I like it. Um, but Georgia, when I flew to Georgia, I was listening to the new Ernest album. I hadn't checked that out. So usually when I'm traveling, I like to take it as like a moment to like listen to music I haven't gotten to listen to yet. Um, but I'd say I'm listening to country for the most part. I'm always a country music person anytime.
All right. And so, up there in Nashville, you're becoming more familiar with it, and I hope to get back there soon. It's been a couple of weeks already since I've been here. Like you said, I already miss it. But
Yeah.
what are some of the places that you like to eat there in Nashville?
Ooh. Edley's is one of my favorites. They're a barbecue place. They have the best wings ever. I love Edley's. Martin's barbecue is also fantastic. Um, where else? Man, see, I'm a bad person to ask that because I'm on a bad budget and also a bad diet where I eat a lot of McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. But I'd say Edley's and Martin's. Those are I'm a barbecue person, so those are my two
Uh,
favorite spots.
okay, I'll tell you what. When I get up to Nashville, I'll take you out to one of those places so that way we could
That's
enjoy that together.
sounds good.
So, do you watch any TV? And if so, are you binge watching anything?
Man, I wish I've never been a big TV person. I've always been a movie person over TV, but even then I haven't gotten to watch a ton. I'm still really, really behind on Yellowstone. I love the show. I just every night when it's like, oh, maybe I'll watch some Yellowstone tonight. You get a call like, hey, we're going here. And I'm like, on my way. Like, so I'm never really home to watch TV, but it's gonna sound stupid, but it's me. I love Family Guy. Family Guy is the show that I will watch. I can never get sick of that show. So if I'm cleaning up around the house or something, Family Guy is most likely on. Just I've watched every episode of that show so many times, and it's just a show where you can just pop on any episode. But I do love Sons of Anarchy. That's probably my favorite show of all time. And I'm like I said, I'm trying to catch up on Yellowstone, but I think there's 4 seasons. I think I'm like halfway through season 2. So
Yeah, so you're way ahead of me. Unfortunately, I'm one of those who haven't even started, and I did catch part of an episode of 1883, and I'm hooked, and eventually I'll find the time to watch both of those series myself.
yeah, it's a great from the season and a half I've gotten to watch. It's amazing. I love it. So I'm just trying to find the time now. And so but like I said, I'm on a very backwards schedule where it's like when I play downtown, I'm playing 6 to 10s or 10 to close. And so when you play 10 to close, you don't get home till like 4 o'clock in the morning. And so my life's backwards where it's like I'm sleeping till noon and then I'm
Hmm.
up and we're writing at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's like there's nothing you can do because that's when my brain works. Every song you hear from me was most likely written at like 2 o'clock in the morning. That's just the truth. And it's yeah, so I just very rarely have time to watch TV anymore. But I'm maybe when things slow down, maybe I'll catch up on some stuff. But I'm a movie person though.
Okay. And what about sports? You mentioned, the first song that you sung was Vintage and your grandfather having the Boston Bruins sweatshirt. Are you a sports fan? And if so, is it the Boston teams?
Oh, hell yeah, it is. I will always have time for sports. When it comes to football season, Sundays are my days where I make sure I'm not doing anything. I watch every Patriots game. I'm a massive Red Sox fan, as you can see from the pictures behind me. I am Boston sports till the day I die. I love sports. Baseball and football are my two favorites, and then obviously you gotta love hockey and basketball. But I keep up with football and baseball. I know everything going on in those. I'm addicted to them.
Yeah, and I'll save it for another podcast. But one of these days we'll have to talk about how you felt when Tom Brady came down here to Tampa.
I
But
was fine with it. I was fine with it. I'll give my answer now. I was fine with it. I mean, I love Brady. Shout out Tom Brady, but um, I was fine with it. I wasn't mad at him. He did a lot for us. I love Mac Jones. He's been doing great for us. So Brady, I
yeah.
love you, but you're good. You're good. No hard feelings.
Yeah, that does come with a lot of controversy with that. We're going to go ahead and end the show with Roadside Bar. But before we do so, why don't you go ahead and tell us again where you're playing and what can we expect from a Liam Coleman show?
Man, what can you guys expect? A good time. We'll say that. I love having fun. I'm a pretty goofy person, so I just like to have a good time on stage. If you guys come to Nashville, you can probably find me in either Tootsie's or Honky Tonk Central or Rippy's. That's where I bounce around when I'm playing downtown, or if I'm playing a writers round, just not more serious side, but you'll just see my side of where I'm like, all right, these are songs I've written and I'm proud of them. But if I'm playing downtown, man, we're having a good time. It's just I want if I'm not having a good time, then the crowd's not having a good time. So it's just it's just fun, just singing everybody's favorite songs and just hanging out. That's the best way to put it. Just hanging out, having a good time, listening to music for the audience. So
Yeah, so for everybody that has the opportunity to travel to Nashville and want a good time, check out Liam Coleman. And to find out a little bit more about him, check out his social medias, but you can also check the website that's listed below here, liamcolemanmusic.com, which has been revamped. And Liam, thank you so much for, being a guest on my podcast. I can't wait to actually see you in person one day playing. But in the meantime, anytime you want to be a guest, you're more than welcome here on Hank's Corner.
yeah, well, thank you very much for having me. I had a good time.
Every small town has a roadside bar, tucked in the sticks, hell, it ain't too far. Rusted sign out front says come in for a good time. Ice cold beer for $1.99. Walk right in through the blue trim door. Make your way across the dusty dance floor. This bar is open, don't need an invitation. This place is like a vacation destination, a tropical paradise with no beach inside. Local band on a Friday night, friendly faces, no need to fight. It's nothing fancy, just come as you are to this little roadside bar. Old deer head over the bar, a neon sign flashing PBR. Jukebox playing an old country song, Billy's in the corner singing along. No craft beer or mixologist tea. Burgers and booze is what brings us all here. This bar is open, don't need an invitation. This place is like a vacation destination,